Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nevermind, the Buy Box. Hi, Jamie. Already logged in. Jamie's always the first on YouTube, always the first to say evening. I think he sets himself like a personal goal now to be able to do it. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay. Let me know if you can. I'm joined this evening by Jonny Smith. Hi, Jonny. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. A little bit tired today, but I'm all right.
I know what you mean. I feel a little bit tired today, but I think it's just like it's been absolutely mad. I've had like loads of stuff going on today, which I'm not going to bore everyone about and tell them. But it's just felt like really super busy today. What have you been up to today? Just like killing it, I expect.
You know what? Not really. I've been programming today, so we can talk about it later. But I'm sort of doing a custom like forecasting tool. Yeah, so I'm sort of scripting all that and sort of self-learning code. It kind of helps because two of my brothers are software developers, so I get them to help anything that I can't do. But with forecasting and sort of data analysis, it's good to go custom. I feel there's nothing out there that I've tried so far that does the job for you that is really good that I've seen for data analysis.
No, awesome. And it's good to be able to have the skills. I know you're pretty techie with that sort of stuff. And, you know, if you can do it yourself, obviously, as well, you can customize it to your own needs in your business, then it's an absolute slam dunk, obviously. Right. So just say hello to a few people that have come on. Jed, evening. Sean, Paul Gilbert says boom. Jane, Jed, yeah, Sean, Doug, evening, Doug. Just wait for a few more people to come on. So obviously, it's 1 year since we went into lockdown today.
Yeah. Which... Don't know if you should be celebrating. Is it a celebratory day? I don't know.
It's a weird one. I saw someone put a meme up on Facebook earlier on that said, "Happy birthday, COVID," or "Congratulations on your first anniversary," or something like that. And it said something like, "You promised us 3 weeks in lockdown and we're still here a year later." You know, I think that's essentially what it was.
Boris meme?
Yeah, I think it was something like that or something like that. I mean, little did we all know this time last year we were probably watching, I think he came on TV about 7-8 o'clock or something like that. And little did we know that we would still be in lockdown a year later. I know we've come in and I know we've gone out, but did anyone think, let us know in the comments, this is what I wanted to ask tonight. Did anyone think 1 year ago when we all got that big shock of going into lockdown, did we think we'd all be sat here a year later still in lockdown? I know I didn't.
No, definitely not. No.
I thought we might have like a few weeks of the shops being shut and this and that. And obviously it's just turned into this massive global pandemic that is going to be a mark on our history. You know, Boris, tonight I was watching his news thing tonight. I thought he might have something interesting to say on the year's anniversary. And he said, you know, they're going to commemorate it. They're going to build a statue, you know, for all the lives that have been lost, which is obviously incredibly sad. You know, and one thing, you know, I asked in the group earlier, which, you know, COVID's changed a lot of people's lives, and automatically for anyone that's not in our world, it's probably changed their lives for the worst. But for us in this particular setting, for those that are on, you know, selling in online retail, running their businesses, it's actually changed a lot of people's lives for the better. So we're in a weird kind of unique situation.
I was talking to my parents about this, and I was sort of saying I feel like I'm in a bubble because the community I sort of interact with are Amazon sellers, and that's really it. A few, like, obviously can't meet up with friends and stuff, so the only people I really speak to and communicate with is Amazon sellers. So I'm in this little bubble where everyone's sort of doing quite well, and I don't really know on the outside or see anyone on the outside with the struggles that must be happening, because I don't see that. Like, but I guess it must be pretty bad with all the, you know, the redundancies and all that. But yeah, definitely in the bubble.
I saw the interesting statistic, and guys, we are going to talk about Amazon tonight, obviously, as well. You know, that's the main purpose of it being here. But this is such a monumental kind of moment, and it's had such an impact on all of our lives and businesses over the last 12 months. I feel it's worth discussing for a few minutes, just, you know, where we are, where we think we're going to be. I saw an interesting statistic earlier on, which really shocked me, actually. And it's the first time I've seen a statistic like this that I thought, wow. And that is, there are currently 11.2 million people on furlough.
Damn. Yeah, it's going to get nasty, isn't it? And bounce back loans going to get paid back soon as well, right? Well, the monthly payments.
Absolutely. So, I think it's about May it will start for most people. You know, if you took out £1,000, it's nearly a grand's payment. It's, you know, 800 quid or something like that, I've heard from people. So it's time for reality to set in. I think this year's anniversary is probably the start of, you know, because from next week, restrictions are starting to lift. Boris and all of them have pretty much, I was talking to an American colleague actually yesterday, and I was saying, because in America, they're pretty much open in America.
Yeah. Well, Texas, they're completely open. They've always been open though.
Yeah.
Florida, it's Florida I was talking about. They've been open the whole time.
Yeah. Well, except to anyone that wants to go to Florida, i.e. me. My holiday's been cancelled 3 times. But, you know, we only want to go when it's safe, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was talking to him, and he's just like so shocked that we are in this level of lockdown still. You know, he was saying that restaurants are still open. Yes, they're at reduced capacity, but you have to wear a mask, but that's it. Everything else is normal. You know, everything else is completely normal. So I was explaining our level of lockdown, and I said, hopefully the restrictions will be coming to an end in June. My only concern, and I don't want this to be a Debbie Downer session because it's not, is our government. I'm not going to go into the government thing. I'm not going to go into that. Too many
white politics.
Yeah, too many politics. But I do think we have been kept in a bubble relatively for quite a long time, and I think we possibly are going to see potentially a little bit of a shock. From Amazon point of view, I think it will remain relatively unaffected. I think what you will see happen is the normal selling cycle of Amazon that most people haven't experienced over the last 18 months. Is there is always the bull and the bear times on Amazon, and I think a lot of people will experience that probably in the second quarter to the third quarter of the year. But by the time, I'm hoping that some of this might kick in that might potentially affect will be in Q4 again. That's what I like to see the positive.
Yeah, I kind of think like there's gonna be a bit of a reality check for some sellers. Like even if you look at sort of the average price now compared to a month ago, there's a lot of prices have dropped down like 20-25%. A lot of people are raking it in over the lockdown for the last year on like printers, stuff like that, and people have been making so much money on stuff like that. But if you look at the average price of items like that, they're all sort of like normalizing and going back to sort of normal percentages, or I don't know if they're making a profit anymore. So I think now is the sort of reality check where people need to sort of think, well, I can't buy these items and buy it and sell it for an inflated price anymore. I need to think about how am I going to take the business to the next steps, the next few years, because strategies change now, right? If we go out of lockdown, there's a vaccine, retail's going to be open. It's just you can't do the same strategies anymore. So people need to,
diversify, definitely change, mix it up and see what's going on. It's exactly the reason why I wanted you to join me tonight, Jonny, because I wanted to talk about all this kind of stuff in a very open way, which I think sometimes people do. Oh no, Amazon's amazing, and it is amazing. You'll never hear me say anything else. It's a wonderful opportunity, especially if you want to run your own business. But there is going to be some challenges, and I want to be open with that with people over the coming months. And we don't just want to stick our head in the sand and live in cloud cuckoo land. There's going to be different ways of doing things. There's always different challenges, and there's always different ways of doing things. But I think what is good is to be able to discuss it openly and try and come up with creative solutions to what people are going through that they might not have experienced before. Oh, and by the way, I meant to say this at the start. Jonny joined me very last minute. I was supposed to have someone else on tonight who couldn't make it at short notice. So Jonny stepped in and saved the day. So thank you for joining me. So just wanted to say thank you and put that out as well. So just before we get started, let's have a quick look at the comments and check in with everyone. Had loads of people jump on. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We've got Fran, Tim. Tim said he thought it was going to be over in 2 weeks. I remember putting out a post around the start of March last year, maybe February, something like that, saying, hey, who's heard about this COVID thing? Do we think it's going to be a thing, or do we think it's going to be a storm in the teacup? And literally everyone was like, no, it's not going to be an issue. It's not going to be this. It's not going to be that. Little did we know later on.
Yeah.
Just crazy the last 12 months. And I think it's good to reflect on it. Simon says, hi. Hi, Luke. Luke joined us last week. Luke Colwell, thanks for watching. Salvatore's joined us. Amanda. Hayden says, yo, what's up? Sean says not even doing 2K sales anymore at the moment. I think naturally you're going to see a little bit of a drop. Sean had a bit of a scare last week with a potential suspension, which I'm glad to say that Karen and Holly managed to sort out for him. So well done, team, for that. Simon said that they would never shut the UK down. I think we all said that. Really? And I don't want to keep going back on it, but I remember chatting with my friends not in the Amazon circle, and we were talking about COVID going back over a year ago. And I said, as a kind of throwaway comment, I was a bit like, don't worry, guys, everything will be fine. Disney World's open. I said, the day that they shut Disney will be the day that the world's end. You know, the only time they've shut it in the last 50 odd years, they didn't even shut it when Walt Disney died. I think they shut it for 9/11. And I was there when Katrina hit, and they didn't even shut it then or anything like that. And literally the next day, the notification came out, Disney World is closing. And I was like, no, this is bad.
But they lose a lot of money, don't they, keeping that closed, Disney? They had some problems this year, right? I feel.
Massive problems. It's only been Disney Plus that's kind of kept them going, and the losses that they've experienced have been absolutely huge. But many companies are in exactly the same boat. So
I couldn't get into one division though. I couldn't get into it. Yeah,
no, I loved it. Absolutely loved One Division. I thought it was really different, really unique. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, we should do a different episode of Disney Plus streaming services and rating those. That would be good. I'd love that. Thomas Parkinson's joined us. Hi, Thomas. Hope you're well from Mexico.
Wow.
Hola. I think that's what they say. Hola.
Spanish.
Yeah. I think
Spanish.
So.
Yeah.
James says 2021 is the time to diversify. Absolutely. And Lorraine's joined us as well. And Anita. Everyone's joined us tonight. It's cool. Right. So what I wanted to talk about is, like I said, over the next kind of going into second quarter, people are probably going to experience some challenges. And I know in particular, and this is why it was fortuitous for you to join me tonight, Jonny, because I do think you are someone that really keeps your finger on the pulse. You know exactly what's going on with Amazon. And, with the buy box and sort of subtle changes that you see Amazon making. And in particular, I saw your post today about Amazon kind of playing silly beggars a little bit, with suppression of the buy box and obviously the new trial of the minimum order quantities and things like that. So if you could, for anyone that hasn't seen that, maybe on the suppression of the buy box, what have you been seeing lately that's given you a little bit of concern?
Yeah, it's kind of insane. Like I'll give you one item, and on Amazon it's about $8.50, and they're suppressing the buy box. I spoke to Amazon yesterday and said, why isn't the buy box showing? And I gave them the link to the retailer, and on the retail price it was $8.50 as well. And they still said like the competitive price is cheaper from elsewhere. So it's basically a Fortune's chocolate, right? And you can get Fortune's cheaper from maybe Morrison's sometimes.
Yeah, Tesco as well, I think.
But yeah, on Fortune's website it was $8.50, on Amazon $8.50, but they were still suppressing the buy box, saying the price was too high, even though the original retailer is as 850. So I thought that was just insanity. I don't know what that's just ridiculous, isn't it? Just when they do stuff like that. And what do you say to people like that? I don't know.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about suppression of buy boxes, and this is where some people get, what is the competitive price? Where is Amazon drawing that information from? There are God knows how many million products on Amazon at any one time. As much as I believe Amazon are incredibly innovative and have great technology and things like that, I do not believe it's possible that they can monitor every single price that is on their website.
200 million listings just in the UK, right? So
yeah,
I think they're trying to reduce that. I think that's what they're trying to do right now. Yeah.
I completely agree. We're seeing lots of merging of listings. We're seeing lots of listing deletions. We're seeing declarations of conformity being asked for. I saw it today just before we went live. Someone else said that they had to sell their products, get authorization, or they were going to be deleted. So I think you're absolutely right. I think Amazon is trying to reduce down that catalog. That is evident through the Amazon brand name policy that they've been rolling out over the last 9 months or something like that. What Amazon want to do is they want to stop, essentially, and I know there's been a lot of chat about this in the groups over the last couple of weeks. What they want to do is they want to have a clear difference between branded products, private label products, and things where you can't affix a brand to a product because it's like a seller-made bundle or something like that. They want to make it absolutely clear, and they want it known to the customer who's selling what, where it's coming from, is it branded. Amazon is putting all of their eggs in the brand registry basket. They most definitely want brands to be brand registered through them, because everything that is going to be coming out through Amazon, through the brand registry program, is going to be targeted towards making customers buy and not leaving that page. There's going to be a live chat function that's going to be set up. There's going to be infomercial style videos. So they're putting all of that innovation into making it almost impossible for someone not to buy. The fact that at some point in the future that you will be able to talk directly to a customer or potential customer that lands on your page and listing makes me think, well, one, that's just mind-blowing, the thought of doing that. It's like a microsite almost, I suppose. I know that technology's been around for a really long time. We were doing that 10 years ago on a website that we had, but the fact that you can do it within a site or a platform like Amazon, I think is going to be just mind-blowing. So I think what they're trying to do is filter as many people into these different, compartments as much as possible. And that means, I completely agree, reducing down the overall size of the Amazon catalog. And there's going to be lots of lots of things changing. Amazon want declarations of conformity. They've made it absolutely clear, if you expect to sell on their site, they expect you as the seller to be able to know that the products that you are buying are authentic, they're safe, they've been checked, they've got all the certificates and everything like that. I think Amazon are just going legit across every function.
So I thought, I think Hayden said to me today that they've stopped doing that now, and they've stopped asking for the declarations. And there's another group, the Retail Arbitrage group that I think Chris runs, and they're still buying so many toys and doing the retail arbitrage. So I thought, assumed they just kind of forgot about it. Is it still
for now? What happens? This is the second time that Amazon have asked for declarations of conformity for toys and games. Yeah. So I can't remember exactly when they did it, but I think they did it around 9 months ago. So what I think happens is it's going to be something that they're going to do sporadically. I think they're going to do it around, every kind of just after Q4 or around that kind of area, where they're going to be checking for the declarations of conformity. Now, there are going to be different standards coming in with Brexit. So what we're going to be having is we're losing the CE mark, and it's going to be replaced by the universal British mark. I can't remember exactly what it's called or something like that. So we've got this kind of transition period with the CE mark this year. So I expect that Amazon will do some spot checking on that. If anyone's got any CE marked products in their inventory, there is a transitional period. So don't worry about it. I think you've got like till some point in 2022 to be able to sell old CE marked products, which is obviously not relevant in a Brexit Britain anymore. We're going to have our own safety standards, just going to be replaced. But these type of safety checks and things like that are going to be, I think, sporadic throughout the year. So toys and games can still be sold without any issues whatsoever. You just have to have it in the back of your mind that at some point they might expect you to produce some sort of documentation. But I think it will happen like once a year, something like that. They'll just do a massive spot check and that's it. But we're going to expect that with supplements as well. That's going to happen at some point this year, where they're going to be doing safety checks. And also, I suspect at some point, beauty products to do with the CMPC portal, which is that kind of safety regulation portal where you have to register the details and your certificates and safety things to do with that as well. So we're going to see this. We're going to see this more regularly now. But to be fair, I think Amazon, as long as they do what they did with the toys and they give people a lead time, to be able to sell through their stock, I think it's going to be okay.
Or it's an opportunity there, right? To get serious about the toys market. I mean, if they're asking for these like compliances and these requests, then go the proper routes and stop buying retail and go wholesale. Like that's the thing to do right now. Surely, if you're a big toy seller, cool. I'm gonna, maybe get a little bricks and mortar and start approaching these brands, because all these brands have trade options. You just need to contact and speak to the right person. I mean, I know myself, and I got rejected because I'm not a toy. I haven't got the toy pitch going. But for someone who's an expert in toys, all these big brands, they have trade contacts. Just get on the phone, right? Yeah. And that's the opportunity, it sounds like to me.
Absolutely. I do a joint venture with someone on some of my unique bundles. And this particular person yesterday had a phone round for suppliers. And this person was absolutely amazed at the amount of people that said yes. One person even said to this person that, do you know what? No one picks up the phone anymore. Everyone just sends emails and we just, automatically say no. But the fact that this particular person picked up the phone, spoke to them about I've always said that, if you want to talk to a wholesaler, pick up the phone, find out who's the person to speak to, take an interest in them. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen to them, what they want out of their business, and how, as an Amazon expert, you can potentially help them. And I think you'll be really amazed at the response that you can get from that.
So when I do say wholesale, just for people who don't know, I mean brands included in that as well as distributors. So it's brands that I would try to contact before who have these wholesale direct brand contacts. So I mean, it's opportunity there if you can get through that barrier for sure. I mean, like, I probably won't name it here, but like there are some big, some big ones, because everyone will be on the phone to them like, oh, give me an account. But,
I know you'll get like 20 private messages after this, 100%. Hayden says, I don't understand why Amazon do stuff like this to the people who create billions of revenue. I think, and I get it. It's the easy thing to say that, Amazon just being Amazon, whatever. But I think it all comes down to, and it will always come down to, is customer protection from Amazon's point of view. If you think about everything that they do that we hate, at the heart of it is protection of their customers. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, because they treat their sellers like poop. But when it comes down to it, one of the first things I ever saw about Jeff Bezos, and one of the first things he truly said was, look, customer is king. We want to go above and beyond for our customers, and we want to do this and we want to do that. So for him, the end Amazon can now survive without sellers. They can, but they can't survive without customers. So at the heart of everything they do, all the stuff that we hate, suspensions, inauthentic claims, IP claims, all of this type of stuff, manipulating reviews, anything like that, it's all at the heart of the customer. So it's the reason they do what they do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess if a brand goes off Amazon will just copy it with Amazon Basics, right, and go on themselves. That's what they like to do, right?
Yeah, but they don't do that.
Yeah,
they don't do that. They don't use their AWS to copy anyone or anything like that. You didn't hear us say that. John said suppression is way better than Amazon joining the listing and crashing the price, isn't it? That's a fair question.
I mean, there's not many times where Amazon just come fresh on the listing. Like if you look historically back at that listing, Amazon at some point, it's like a little flash, they come on the listing. So there's always red flags and signs that Amazon's going to come back. It's just you need to. Yeah, I don't know about the listing, but sometimes you just need to do the research better.
And like I said, famous last words here as well. Sometimes they'll just dip their toes, like you said. There's a little something, a little hint of something. Yeah. When I first started selling on Amazon, because Amazon were not on as many listings as they are now. I mean, I'd love to know the percentage of, 6-7 years ago to now of the percentage that Amazon are on. But you could absolutely count if Amazon went out of stock for a period of time, they weren't coming back into stock for X amount of time. And it was really safe to be able to sell on the listing. We didn't have buy box suppression. So, it was the classic, the charts go up and yes, the BSR went up if the price went up, but that was the game. That was what was advised. If Amazon go out of stock, you get in there and you sell the stock because you could realistically predict when they were going to come back into stock.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't happen like that anymore, unfortunately. Definitely got more competitive on the Amazon front. But with regards to John's question, I probably agree. I think that's right, because buy box suppression doesn't mean no sales. It just means that there is going to be
a lot less sales. It does affect it a lot. It does affect, the ranking goes up for sure.
Yeah, and it is something, and I know we've had a conversation, obviously, about the previous minimum order quantity as well. So I know that that's something that you're seeing a lot in the area of business that you're in. So Ari, the conversation we had a few weeks ago about, the BSR going up, it's slowing sales. Is that a trend that you're still seeing?
Well, definitely for the buy box when it's suppressed. But yeah, even with the minimum order quantity, every listing that one seller is on, every single one, the rank has gone up, which is, I don't know how they're going to do it. I was thinking, how does Amazon do this with their UI? If they had a user interface, because if they had it on eBay, where it'd be sort of a quantity discount, that'd be so much better, right? So, if you buy 3, you get 10% off, right? Rather than just displaying the lowest price. Because what that guy, what he's doing is he's putting the minimum order quantity to sometimes 6, and it's absolutely insanity. It's just completely changing the listing. So they've been piloting for over a month now. I think there's 3 pilots running. So I don't know what they're doing, but maybe another month of sort of seeing it. I know you can still win the buy box off them if you keep it sort of 10-15%, but but realistically,
that you have to compete with the buy box of the single item, not the multiple item.
Yes, it's for FBA and FBM. Yeah.
Wow, so it makes it totally unprofitable. So you have to go to what the old kind of difference used to be between FBM and FBA, which used to be 12%, 15%, something like that, to be able to grab the buy box off them.
It's the lower cost ones that are the worst. So say the normal price is £5. They can just set their sort of minimum order quantity to 6 and then set the price to £1.99, and then you can't go 10-20% within that £2, right? Because when the margins are so thin, that's when it really hurts. So again, it's something that at the start did sort of, made me a little bit paranoid and anxious, but it's one of those things in business, right, where you can't control it. And I spoke to a few friends about it, and just Obviously, it just annoys you when it's unfair and there's nothing you can do, and you stand there and watch your stock just sitting there, you're just hopeless, doing nothing. But you like to think like, I don't know. He said like if you were in that situation, then you'd probably do the same. So it's just So it's just got to sit and wait, right? And that guy who's got it's just a lottery ticket. It's just an absolute lottery ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of those things. It is a beta program. Once it's released across the board, if it's released across the board, I'm hoping that Amazon look at the stats and say, hang on a sec, this is hurting us. But it's actually something, I think we spoke about this when I talked about it with Luke a few weeks ago, this is actually something that's been going on a lot longer than just a month. They've been trialing it in Germany for a really long time. And some sellers I know that have been using it in Germany as well. And Amazon themselves have been doing it for quite a long time. Now, Amazon, what I'd be interested to know is why they've moved away from their kind of subscribe and save, which is what you talk about, like a multiple, not really a multiple discount.
It's a bit different. It's like a monthly order, right?
Yeah, it's like a commitment to it. But why they didn't go down that route more for kind of multiple discounted orders? I think you might see that at some point in the future from Amazon.
It's what eBay, right? It's how eBay display it. And I mean, it's definitely bonuses, like if it comes out, and it definitely makes merchant fulfilled and seller fulfilled Prime like everything works now for it, right? Because before you're like, okay, if it's below £10 and like the picking cost for a seller fulfilled Prime is 80p, for instance, I mean, sometimes you think, well, it's not worth it. So like now you can set the minimum order quantity and make the total price to above 10 or 15. It makes seller fulfilled Prime and MF just completely worth it if it's allowed in MF. So there's definitely other opportunities that it does come where every listing is viable for fulfilling yourself straight to the customer. We'll see, right?
Lots of changes, lots of pilot programs, lots of beta programs, lots going on from Amazon's point of view at the moment. Now, the interesting thing, obviously the hot topic was 2 months ago, no one was selling toys because of the declaration of conformity. We know that's been lifted now. Amazon are not asking for as many. We also know people that are relisting toys as well, and they're actually relisting some of the products that they had deleted. And as far as we're aware at the moment, Amazon are absolutely fine about it. We don't know at this stage, but as far as we're aware, Amazon are absolutely fine about it. So everyone was kind of sworn off toys a few months ago. Now I'm getting a vibe that everyone hates grocery. So because of the combination of
Morrison's,
the minimum order quantity pilot. What else am I thinking of as well? I think there's a couple of other reasons there. Expiry dates, obviously, as well. Amazon are getting a little bit hotter on the expiry date front. They seem to be adhering to that a little bit more. So my question is now, and I do think with Amazon, you go through cycles with these type of things, a bit like toys a couple of months ago. I know Hayden's spoken about it in his group as well, where he's not even looking at grocery at the moment. So do we think moving forward that throughout the Amazon selling cycle of a 12-month period, where it's always been okay to sell products all year round that are not seasonal, do we think moving forward that there's going to be, cyclical or however you say that word, cycles of certain niches and categories that you can sell and you can't sell? Do you think we're going to see more of that over the next 12 months?
I'm not sure. I think the whole grocery thing is just being influenced by this beta trial, and I don't think it actually has anything to do with Morrison's, in my opinion. The only argument for the Morrison's thing is if you're setting a minimum order quantity and then raising the average sell price, then you get closer to that £40 minimum. So that might stray people to go to the Morrison's rather than Amazon. But no, I honestly think it's just this buy box suppression, which I don't think it's exclusive to groceries, and it's the minimum order quantity, which again I don't think is exclusive to groceries. It's just that one particular seller who has access to it. He's a food wholesaler, like basically that's his sort of expertise. So no, I just think it's just Amazon playing with us and
Amazon
being annoying.
I reckon Jeff watches this every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Whatever we say, He's like, yeah, that'll mess with them if I put that in.
Yeah.
I don't think that. But I think with Amazon, this is why when we talk about it, we have to talk about it as a evolving and adapting platform. There's no doubt about it. You have to be able to adapt to these different challenges. If you think that you can just carry on doing the same as what what you've been doing, and especially during lockdown, because I've got to be honest, over the last 12 months, selling on Amazon, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, like I'm making light of it, but selling on Amazon over the last 12 months has actually been easy compared to probably the 12 months before that, to be perfectly honest. So I think sometimes, especially for the sellers that have joined in the last 12 months, the road ahead is probably going to be a little bit bumpy, but don't let anyone tell you the opportunity is dead, because it's not. You just have to adapt to it in different ways. And I think that's the message that I kind of want to get across. And if you watch, broadcasts like this and things on YouTube where we keep you updated about these type of things, then it's not really a taboo subject and you're not finding out about it too late. It's just, caution. I know you do a lot of wholesale, Jonny, obviously, where you do buy, volume products. But I think for a lot of people, especially those that are just going to stay in the traditional kind of vanilla arbitrage, the old kind of rules of shallow and wide, probably are going to have to pay more attention, certainly over the next 12 months, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think for new people, competing in categories like grocery is a lot harder now, especially with there's a lot of competition and on the minimum order quantity and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure it still works because obviously how the VAT works, where someone like me can't compete with them in beauty, really. We'll see. I mean, I think it was literally 7 days ago from today where there was a buy box suppression. So there was something changed in the algorithms of Amazon, I think 7 days ago, because I noticed the buy box statistics, your buy box percentage, it all dropped 7 days ago. And it was just, it wasn't like a gradual slowdown. It was just a drop and then flat. So they definitely,
That's definitely really interesting. And do you know what? One other thing I wanted to point out. So I don't want people to get confused when we're talking about buy box suppression and when the BSR disappears off of a product, off of a chart, because those are two different things. I know some people get those confused. So buy box suppression is when the buy box is taken away. When the BSR green line disappears off of Keeper, or the line disappears off of BuyBot Pro, what it means is Amazon is suppressing that data for a certain period of time. And the reason why they suppress that data is generally something's changed within that listing. Yeah. Amazon is re-reviewing it. They're re-ranking it. They're taking a look at that information. It might have been a title change. It might have been someone playing silly beggars with the amounts on the listing. Someone might have requested a photo change or something like that. Generally, if a listing gets disrupted, that's when you see the BSR disappear. But the easiest way to check if the product is still selling is to be able to go onto the new offer account. And if it's still going up and going down, it means that the product's selling. And it doesn't, like suppression, it doesn't affect the amount of sales. So don't expect the green line's gone. Okay, so it means that it's selling less. It actually means that you just go back to previously when the green line was there, or the BSR line, and just having a look at it. And what it was selling at is probably what it's still selling at now.
Yeah, usually if the buy box is suppressed, it's when the pink line disappears. So if you go along and you won't see the buy box line come up, and you think, why is that happening? But just randomly happens sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's generally a change, and with the suppression, it's because Amazon is being unreasonable about something. But let's go back. We've got some questions I want to ask Jonny as well that we had some previous people ask this evening. But if you've got any questions or anything like that, let us know in the comments. Hayden says, I hope they don't expect us to answer these questions live on the listing pages, going back to the kind of chat function. Well, that's a really interesting question, because it's only going to be for brand registered brands. But if you've got a brand like Cadbury, which is a brand registered brand, will the live chat function be on arbitrage listings? I don't know, because
thought it was mainly for private label. I thought. Yeah.
I would think so too, but it's mainly through brand registry that they're pushing everything. And like I said, Cadbury is a brand registered brand. They're just not fussy about who sells their products, obviously. It's a process that Cadbury have gone through themselves, which means that you can't list anything under the Cadbury brand because you have to be brand registered to do that or have brand registry approval through Cadbury. But it would be interesting whether or not, if you've got something like that, it pops up, because, you know, are we going to have these things in our apps that sort of say, hey, is this a, you know, 30 gram or a 40 gram bar or something like that? It would just.
Wouldn't Amazon take over that? Because, you know, it's part of the FBA service to take care of customer service, right? So is that Amazon's role?
I think it will be for more kind of general listings, but I think, you know, I can't see how it's possible for listings with multiple sellers unless it affects the person that's got the buy box only. It could be that. But I mean, this is probably quite a long way away. So I don't think it's anything that we've got to worry about. I know it's being like secretly kind of tested and things like that at the moment. So I don't think it's anything we've got to worry about. And it is predominantly designed for people that create their own products. So it might well be that it's a part in brand registry that you have to switch on, or you have to apply for, or you have to be pre-registered for, or something like that. So don't worry about it, guys. You don't have to get your best customer service. Don't have to hire a VA to be able to answer all of those questions. You won't need to do that at all. Sean says, going back to the brand registry thing and private label and things like that, I don't think that's Amazon's plan. Amazon plan, they just want it to be identifiable to the customer, who's selling what, and if a product has not been created by a brand, they just want that to be shown. You know, that's what Amazon's brand name policy is about. Let's have a look at some of the questions that we asked earlier tonight. Ash and both Simon asked about selling in the US, because we talked about some of the issues that we wanted to cover tonight. For those that don't know, I've recently started selling in the US. It's like 2 weeks ago, something like that, less than 2 weeks, maybe 10 days, where our stock actually went live. So just the process of how we got open. That's something we're actually going to be talking about a lot over the, you know, the coming weeks and months. And just one of the questions was asked, which is now less complicated, selling in Europe or selling in the US? Well, for me, it's selling in the US is less complicated, because selling in Europe is a massive pain in the bum at the moment. And I still don't know anyone that's truly managed to get arbitrage products over the line. And
are you selling on the East Coast or West Coast?
All over.
All over. Okay.
Yeah, all over. So one of the things that we've noticed, the difference between one of the things that struck me straight away, well, two things that struck me straight away about selling in the US was, and it was do you know what? I've got to be honest, and I don't want people to be scared of this. Because I do think with the loss of Europe, I do think selling in the US is a really good, viable option for people. And especially with everything that's going on with the price tanking and the dropping and everything like that. And if you're going to try potentially private label or selling your own products, then the US market's a good market to be able to do it in. But the two things that struck me straight away, well, it was very easy to set up the process. We did it through a limited UK company, so we didn't have to register. We didn't have a previous US company, and we opened a US account about 3 years ago, but we never did anything with it. So whether that's still active or shut, I don't know. I think it's all shut down. But we just did it all through the selling globally. It's just literally a few buttons. You need to get like verification for like an international account and things like that. So that part was really easy. The part that took the longest time was going through the brand registry process and having the trademarks put into place, putting together the listing, all of the research.
So you're doing private label in America?
Yeah, it's private label.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's private label in America. So it's But I always do weird things. It's like private label, but UK made, but we're selling it in America.
I mean, it's the niche stuff that works in private label now, I think, because there's a lot. I think I get a lot of like Chinese hijackers on private label listings in America. That's been the issue. There's no longer the days of buying something from Alibaba and then selling on Amazon.
No,
that's
definitely
gone.
not. This is a UK made product. It's a UK designed and engineered product. And it's a product that the reason why we went to the US first is because it suits the US market so much more than it suits the UK market. The second best market for this product will without doubt be Germany. It's actually the UK will be probably the weaker market out of the three because of the type of product it is. But funnily enough, we will launch next in the UK purely because we're UK experience. So it makes sense for us to do that. We went with the US first because obviously it's English speaking. I've got some really good contacts in America. So, I've got some excellent people helping us out with this particular, process as well. So I felt really confident about the US market, even though I didn't really know anything about it. But
Are you shipping pallets or sorry? Were you shipping pallets across, or how did you ship the merchandise across?
Well, this product in particular, and I want to make it clear, this is not our product. So I want to make this clear. I've said this before. It's a partnership with someone else, with a non-Amazon seller who has this private label product, who is not interested in, selling on Amazon in any way, shape or form. So we make the perfect partnership. So they already had stock in America because they sell it through a different medium in America, but they don't sell it through the Amazon platform. So, but it would have been shipped over because obviously it's engineered and made in the UK. But that process is something we haven't gone through yet ourselves, the actual sending of the product to the US, but we will be going through sending of the product to the German market because that's something that we're going to be doing in probably about 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. UK is launching in 2 weeks, and then we're going to go through the process of launching in the US, which is cool because then we'll be
exciting.
It's really cool. And like I said, one of the things that struck me about selling in the US to start with was how big it is. So when we set up our first shipments to be able to send the products in, it was like a 5-way split to start with. And that straight away was like, oh man, we've got a split. We've got some parts going to Florida, we've got some going to California, we've got this and that. And then it was only the penny dropped, and you think, well, of course, there's going to be more splits in the US because it's so vast. It's so big. So they're not going to keep all the stock in like Philadelphia, because our stock came from Chicago, so it came from Illinois. So of course they're not going to keep that in that area and then direct it all throughout the company. They're going to put it at strategic locations around the US. So that was when the penny dropped. And then the second thing that was really interesting, which I made a post about on Secret Wealth Project, was obviously I didn't realize was most of the states are between 5 and 10 hours behind. So actually I'm sat there on the first day, and about 6 o'clock we haven't had our first sale, and I was like, oh my God, I hate this, it's awful, it's going to fail. But we get all of our sales throughout the evening and throughout the night. So now we are in a full process of 24-hour selling. And I tell you what, when you wake up to 4 figures of sales overnight from a foreign market, you're like, this is pretty good. So you're continually. So on my app, I have it on UK up until about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then I switch it over to the US and start, kind of monitoring that one. And that was a massive unexpected, benefit, to be perfectly honest, of having this kind of continual sale of 24-hour sales. But to answer the question, definitely selling in the US is proving much easier. I think the process is going to be easier than setting up in Germany for a number of reasons. obviously the German, when we write the listing, it's going to have to be translated, and it's going to have to be written by, I write most of my listings, on all of my listings pretty much, but I'm going to outsource getting the German listing written.
Okay.
I'm not a German speaker. I'm not, because of what I think is I could write it and get it translated, but I think it's better to be written in the native, by a native speaker.
Yeah, let me know if you need any help with that. Actually, my girlfriend, she speaks fluent German and has an Amazon German business. She lives here, but she has a business with her sister. And yeah, I think I spoke about this before. But yeah.
Oh, cool. I will definitely hit you up on that. Yeah, because I don't know where to start, to be perfectly honest. And I think that's what's really exciting. And that's what I want to kind of impress on people as well, is we've been selling on Amazon for, 6 years. And this is the first time we've ever sold a private label product. Yes, I sell unique bundles, which is very, very similar in the process and in the way that I do everything. But it is still different again. And I must admit, I have just thoroughly enjoyed the last 2 weeks, because it's been exciting. It's been a load of firsts again, which once you have been selling for a certain period of time, you stop getting the firsts.
Yeah.
Unless you change something dramatically in your business. So, the first day that we hit $1,000, that was, exciting again to be able to go through that process. So this is what I'm talking about with the evolution and adapting and adding different products and different markets and this type of thing. It keeps it,
It's my long-term goal is to cash flow from wholesale and then put that cash flow in private label. I know, Ferrazio in America, they're like a big, I love following them. I think they completed their 100th or 1,000th acquisition, but they got so much funding, and they're massive. Really exciting.
1,000, because I think I saw a podcast on that. They're absolutely, they don't make anything themselves. They just acquire brands.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Do you know, part of me I'm thinking is I'd love to be able to get someone on here to be able to talk about that brand, but I don't know. This is predominantly an arbitrage kind of audience, but I still think it will be really interesting. Let me know in the comments if you are interested about seeing if I can get someone on from that company, because they're a monster, multi-billion.
Amazing. I mean, if you could look at their podcast, they have lots of different staff members talking, and I'm sure if you grab one of them, they'd probably do it because they probably want more traction to their podcast, which isn't massive. It's not massive. I find that fascinating. And I mean, if you ever want to get into private label and then look at their acquisitions and look what they've done with the listings, and you can see the A+ contact, all the images and what they've done. And if you just sort of mold it around, just copy Ferrazio. It's insane. It's amazing.
Oh, definitely. And there is an element of that, especially in the US. And that's something I definitely did was finding excellent listings, seeing how they were written in the American phrasing and the American kind of tongue and everything like that. And it really does help to be able to see how certain listings are created, especially of really popular listings and things like that, because it's like starting from scratch, to be perfectly honest. But what I will say, for anyone that's interested, in 2 weeks I have got somebody coming on who is a 7-figure US seller in 2 weeks time, that's going to come on talking specifically about selling in the US, because I can see, I don't know if it's a little bit of, because I've started selling in the US, I think, and the combined with people losing that 30% odd from the European markets, I know it's an area that people are definitely interested in. So hopefully if you guys are happy with that, we've got someone coming in 2 weeks to speak specifically about selling in the US, and this person that's going to come on and talk to us is absolutely one of the best, or to be able to talk about it from that point of view. So got to 7 figures, I think, in 6 months with selling private label on Amazon in the US. So I mean,
sorry. I mean, some of my friends who voted for Brexit, one of the positives from it was the potential to deal with the US and the potential trade deals with the US that it opens us up to by leaving the EU. I think that's a lot of things that is kind of overlooked that people don't really think about is how we can trade with the US now and how it changes. And obviously, I'm not a Brexit expert, but that is definitely one of the best things about it. And if we can drive Cadillacs around the UK, that'd be also pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think there are lots of benefits to Brexit that unfortunately we are just grieving our loss of EU sales at the moment, because over the last 12 months we've been tied up with this pandemic. If the pandemic hadn't have happened, I think we would be in a much more enlightened position of how Brexit is going to work for the UK moving forward. We're just seeing all of the negative at the moment. And again, I don't want this to be a political conversation about who's right and who's wrong on Brexit and this and that. We've gone past that now. It's done. We've left the EU. It's over. We have to look at it from a positive point of view. And I think you're absolutely right, Jonny. Yeah. There's going to be some amazing opportunities that are going to come through Brexit. Think of UK engineering, think of, all of these different types of areas. It's going to be probably really feasible for people to really take advantage of like UK private label over the next 12 to 18 months as well. That's going to be a huge opportunity for Amazon sellers. So we always definitely like to look at the positive for sure. Just a couple of people who asked, what was the name of that company again?
Thrasio, THRASIO, and their podcast is called The Selling Point. Thrasio, I think. Yeah. But they've completely just changed the game, really. Completely different model, and they went into it, and now they're just killing it, absolutely killing it. Yeah,
it's amazing, really, when you think about it, because they don't make anything.
Yeah,
themselves.
They just optimize listings, basically.
Yeah. They acquire brands, make it better, and billions of dollars. They were in Forbes or something like that. I saw the article to do with that. And if you think about it, that's how legitimate Amazon is.
Yeah.
It's just that's, billions. You've now got the, privately owned companies are, doing billions and billions in dollars worth of sales every year. So who's for that? Darren says, how's it spelled?
Yeah, check out Empire Flippers as well. That's pretty cool. You can sort of see the Amazon companies selling and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
See if I can find it. If not, I will post it. I'll post it in the group. I'm just going to see if I can find it really quickly. Let's just have a quick look. It's like THARISSO or something like that, isn't it?
RASIO, I think. And then just put Amazon after and it'll come up in the newspaper articles.
Didn't know we were going to have a spelling bee tonight.
I'm dyslexic, so I don't know how to spell. So
yeah, I'm verbally dyslexic because I just never know how to say anything. So if I read that as Tharasso or something like that, I just don't even think it's called that. So but I'll find it and I'll post it. I'll put it in the comments afterwards or something like that. But yeah, they're absolutely killing it 100%. But yeah, one for the diary, guys. 2 weeks time, we're going to have a top US seller. It's Tharasso. Doug says, I don't know. There we go. I think we've got it there anyway. But so one for the diary, 2 weeks time, we're going to have someone coming on that's going to talk specifically about selling on the US. Right, a couple more questions, mainly for you actually, Jonny. So let's have a quick look. Talks about selling on the US. Hayden just saying about lots of changes going on. You've got to adapt, and absolutely, that's what we said.
Keep lean, I think, as well. Right now, it's a good time to. I see a lot of new sellers just getting 2-3 VAs at the start, and I think how much money you need to make to sort of cover their cost at sort of a 10% net margin. It does. Yeah,
it adds up, and that's the thing. And I think what can happen is you can fall into the rabbit hole really quickly with Amazon. You can sign up to 20 different softwares and subs and this and that. But do you know what? The one thing you've got to be able to do is you have to be able to tell a good deal from a bad deal. And the only way to be able to sell a good deal from a bad deal is to be able to learn to source properly. You know, that's one of the only ways to be able to do it. I know you've been running some sourcing workshops lately, Jonny, as well through your group, which we'll give a good shout out to as well. So I think sometimes there's a lot of miseducation about, you know, learn how to sell on Amazon. Well, that's great. But if there's not a step-by-step process of showing you, you might stumble onto a video that just shows you how to get the best out of using a VA. So you might think, first of all, right, I need a VA. Well, actually, that's probably going to be a little bit later down the road for
sure. You need to sort of, I think you need the familiarity with brands and know your sort of your market, right? And you really need to know everything about Amazon. But if you just offload it and become sort of robotic, you're not learning about the marketplace, are you? If you just get a VA to do all the sourcing, I think sourcing is the best thing about learning about all the data points and how the brands that sell on Amazon, what brands work, how to scale, you know, how build to scale. Is just, I don't know. There's just a lot of people I see just completely outsourcing their business. And I think it's this whole 4-hour-a-week sort of Amazon business that people are attracted to. But, you know, you can't do that anymore, especially now coming out of lockdown, all these different things. And as we were saying earlier, it's going to get a lot more difficult. So you can't just get 6 VAs, you know, with a bunch of capital and just go crazy. You gotta get serious, I think. And yeah,
absolutely. And I think, well, it's one of the, you can do it, but you need a lot of cash flow to be able to do it. Because, you know, everybody's kind of fishing in the same pool, especially if you're doing just traditional OA. And I think it's really important to follow that process through to be able to identify a product. Why have you picked that product? You've purchased that product. It's come to you. You've checked it. It's good to send in. You prep it. You send it into Amazon. You wait for it to check in. It's got there safely. Okay, maybe it hasn't got there safely. Do I need to put in a reimbursement? Do I need to do this? Do I need to reconcile my, when I reconcile my shipment? Okay, now it's live on Amazon. Why is it not selling? Okay, I'm not the cheapest because of this. Or 50,000 new sellers have jumped onto it. And then by the time it actually goes the full process of selling that product, I've just explained it briefly then, it's like 10 parts.
Yeah.
You know, to selling a product on Amazon. Whereas if you are missing out 8 of those parts, and then you're coming into a group and saying, why are my products not selling?
Yeah.
You're never going to know.
That's why I'm building this sort of custom forecasting tool, like for myself, is because I really want that overview of how products are performing. And it's all about getting all the data points, understanding why. Like, is it you've got a less percentage of the buy box, is it to a price? Like, there's many things, right? Is there too many FBA sellers? You know, and I want that overview of what's going on with the listing, and I want to know everything about every listing, almost, sort of thing, or every brand, and I want to know everything that's going on. There's so many different approaches, and there's 200 million listings on Amazon. There's so many different approaches and different strategies, but I think one thing you do need to do is have that familiarity and that really knowing your business really well. And I just think sometimes if you offload too much, you just don't know what's going on. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just made a video for part of some VA training that I'm doing for the Elite Sellers Academy. And there one specific video, and it's quite early on, where I go into a formula of showing people how to assess if they can afford a VA in their business.
Yeah, that's great.
So, you know, it's so important to be able to do that, because most people don't see that. They say, right, I can hire a VA. Brilliant. Okay. They're $100 a week. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But then your VA is going to send you deals, and those deals that they'll send you, you might have to spend $300 a day or something like that. And it's a compounding cost. So then you have to take into account, you have to buy the products, send them in, pay your prep center, or pay to, use your time to send it yourself. Then it might take 2 or 3 weeks to sell, if you're lucky, before that cash flow comes back. It might, some of the products might not sell because they might become saturated. So it's this full kind of cycle. And before you know it, you could be a month into a VA and you could be like $2,000 into the rabbit hole, possibly even more, without seeing a penny come back. So you have to be able to assess whether or not your business can afford a VA before you take a VA on. But that obviously applies to any cost to do with the business. We're not just picking on VAs, of course. It just applies, to anything that you're going to do to try and scale your business without taking into account, can I afford to scale my part of the business?
Yeah, I think that it's just my personal opinion. I think anything that's like exploration sort of thing, where you're exploring like new data and stuff like that, you keep to yourself. But I think VAs personally are much better for repetitive tasks, where it's over and over the same thing over and over again. But if you're exploring new data, I feel like that should be like within your, closer to home, so you understand it. But everyone has different methods, and there's people killing it with all different sort of strategies. And I don't want to overbash everyone, the whole concept, but I just see it's just people thinking, oh, I can get a few VAs, I'm gonna have all these deals and then all this, and they're never going to care as much about the business as you do. The deals they find are never going to be as good as what you find if you understand sourcing. So yeah, I think you need to get to a certain level before thinking about it. Before you really understand it, you've got to understand your business first, I'd say.
I completely agree, and I think it's exactly the same process you have to go with the prep center. Because prep center, a VA will, in, I suppose, the broadest sense of term, should make you money, whereas a prep center will never make you any money. It might, it will help you scale your business, but it won't make you any money. Essentially, it's a service that you have to pay out for. It's dead cash, and you have to pay out front, and you may have to pay out front before you see that return coming back on the products that you've sold. So I completely agree. And it's the same with prep centers and different areas that you can add into your business. And it's why it's so important to know what your cash is, know your numbers, before you've even paid yourself or anything like that. So it's really important to look into that in detail, most definitely. John's asked, what should new Amazon sellers be most worried about with regards to upcoming changes?
Compliance, I guess. The sort of compliance things with toys and authenticity sort of things that Sean got recently, little things like that. So I'd say keeping invoices, keeping receipts or whatever. It seems like they're getting more hot on that sort of thing. So as a new seller, make sure you're purchasing through the right avenue, right shops, and you're doing it correctly. It seems like that's the thing you should really focus on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think that compliance is something that is going to be very sporadic over the next 12 months. I mean, look, we had it with Amazon with, the last 12 months. God, I mean, I think we've all blocked out our brain to do the stuff with price gouging and face masks and hand sanitizers and everything like that. It's like I've blocked that period out of my mind completely. But there's always something. You just have to stay on your game, keep updated with the groups, with broadcasts like this where we keep on top of stuff and we talk about it, quite, openly. I think you're going to see more and more well-known brands coming onto Amazon. I think you're going to see more retailers coming onto Amazon. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some big players coming onto Amazon. We've had Disney, we've had Morrison's, we've had a few other people. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some more of that as the shops open back up. I think. But
why would they do it now, though? Surely, if retailers and stuff going to come back, they would do it over the last 12 months when things have been closed down, right? If you know what I mean, right? Because their business has suffered retail, bricks and mortar wise. So we need to adapt. Let's go on Amazon. Let's do more avenues. So why would they come on now? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what's probably happened, or probably what will happen within that period, or has happened within that period of time, is they've had government assistance, they've had staff on furlough. So it hasn't really been something that has probably been top of their minds about, I think they just want to get the doors open again. And then once they get their doors open again, if it was me and I was head of Debenhams or something like that, I know Debenhams do sell on Amazon, obviously, and it didn't save them. But of course, they were just merchant fulfilled on there. But I would be saying, right, okay, first things we need to do, where are we on online? That's where we need to focus on. Where else can we sell over this period of time? So I don't think Amazon is forefront of people's minds. But I do think it's something that, because I think most people will be thinking, right, I need to get my website set up. Not set up. I mean, we're talking about big brands here. We need to get our website right. But then we need to focus on the other avenues of selling. And I think you're seeing more. I think you will see more mainstream brands coming on. And I think you'll see more people. I work with some brands on Amazon where I represent them, and I run their account for them. So I think you're going to see more people doing that sort of service for people. So it's going to be bringing, more people on. So you might see certain brands becoming more insular and focusing on themselves, small to mid-level brands, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, if that happens, that's why I want to get into sort of private label, just to diversify. And, if I can get to sort of a small time acquisition sort of thing, I mean, that'd be cool as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think there's going to be, if you can have the ability to utilize other people's excellence, I think then that is a winning combination. Absolutely, to be able to do that. And the company that we were talking about, I think it's an absolute genius stroke. You don't make anything yourself, you just recognize.
They completely cut out the whole startup point, right? The whole creative and creating a brand, and by something that's already working. And, if they can't, and if they can't scale it, they've still got a good product, right? That's still giving them a good return, and that's why it's so nice. But if they do, obviously, anything that they build, they gain from that is just a bonus, really. So
definitely.
Cool.
We got a few more questions here. I don't want to keep everyone too late, of course. Lindsay said, what's your opinion on toys? Do you expect them to open up again in time for Christmas? I don't know if you heard at the start, but most of the DOCs have pretty much been lifted now. So certainly from what we're seeing is that products are being listed and no declarations of conformities are being requested. Amazon even reinstated a load of listings themselves a few weeks ago on toys. So I think it's going to be a sporadic check. So I don't think it's the end of toys. I think they're okay. But obviously just bear in mind, if the last time that you sold toys was in Q4, the natural sales are going to be lower for toys. Now and certainly unless you're selling like outdoor or summery type of toys, that's when that market will start to pick up now. Definitely. Sean says he's traveled up and down the UK doing RA and scaled his business before he got VAs and said he didn't get one for the first 18 months or so. Definitely knows his business inside out. Yeah, I think Sean is testifying to the fact, keep your receipts and invoices from Amazon. Sean had an IP claim very recently. He's talked about it himself, so I'm sure he doesn't mind me talking about it. And it was a combination of Karen Hudson at Get Unsuspended and Holly and the receipt that saved his account, essentially. So you have to keep on top of your paperwork. If you get physical receipts, photocopy them or scan them, because they do fade well. If you can't prove it, you won't get your Amazon account back. It's as simple as that. Sounds harsh, but it's true. So keep your receipts like they are printed money.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, or get Dext or Receipt Bank, right? Take pictures of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure they're in your accounting software. Yeah.
It proves I don't do any part of the admin or anything like that. I'm like, photocopy it.
Yeah.
I'm back in the 90s, definitely. Tez says, now this is interesting, asking about Walmart. Will we get we get it here anytime soon? Well, actually, I've got a bit of gossip on Walmart, which is I was talking to my American friends yesterday, and Walmart has just opened up to international sellers. So it's not outside of the US, but we can start to sell on Walmart from now on. So if you are doing like private label or anything like that in the US, then you can now, as an international seller, apply to sell on Walmart, which actually might be the start of the resurgence of Walmart. Everyone said that Walmart are the only people that can potentially, challenge Amazon in what they're doing. So this might be the start of seeing a little bit of competition from Walmart's point of view. And the product range that we sell in the US and are expanding to sell in the US, again, would suit the Walmart market perfectly. So for us, it's definitely something that we're going to be trying.
Yeah, I think for me, even I've been selling for so long, e-commerce wise, I still think I need to I really want to like expertise, really nail Amazon first, and get that like 100% and running to how I want it to be before I sort of explore, Walmart and America and stuff like that. But 2023, Walmart, yeah,
definitely. And I'm such a believer in that, and I think that on the arbitrage side of things, I'm going to sound like a bit of an idiot now when I say, I kind of know everything. But I do feel that in that area that there is, if I've kind of got the T-shirt, I've been doing it for a really long time on the unique side of things, the UK market and, that side of things. But I've always been really honest. It's the private label side of things that I do lack on. I do cross into that area, but not fully. So this has been the next challenge for me as well. Yeah. And for me, even before exploring other avenues, I completely agree. There's plenty going on Amazon. Yes, you shouldn't always have your eggs in one Amazon basket, of course. It's good to diversify because of obviously the way that they are. But I certainly see the diversification that we've gone through is, sufficient, because obviously now we're on a completely separate platform selling a completely different model. So, that's enough diversification for me for a little while.
Yeah, I think for me as well, obviously I'm moving to the warehouse soon, which is, I think, going to be 1st of May now. It's insane how long it took. The property renters, the commercial renters, they got hacked. So they lost all their data and they lost all the contracts and stuff like that. So it just got delayed by a few months. But 1st of May is when I'm going to move in. So before I move on to other things, I've got a lot of like leads to go through and really nail down the warehouse, which is, I think it's going to be probably the biggest challenge, I'd say, for me. I think because it's quite a big space, and again, that's sort of running fluently. I'm quite lucky, actually. The prep center I use now, Kev Blackburn, he's really helping me out with the transition, actually, and he's helped me out with all the documents and stuff like that. So I'm kind of fortunate to have that, but like proves to build your network and stuff like that, and some good people that will help out.
Absolutely. And so are you going to be hiring staff? Because presumably your prep center is going to stop and then it's all going to come into you, and then you've got to sort the process of obviously self-fulfilling, and presumably that's when you'll start the process of maybe diversifying more into seller fulfill.
I gotta try and get the FBA right, and it's a 3,000 square foot, so it's a lot of space, and it's a lot of money, like for like shelves and packing tables, conveyor belts, and all that sort of materials, and maybe a forklift. And it's one of those things where a few months I'll be like, what am I doing? What's going on? And obviously managing physical staff as well is something that I have never done before. And it's exciting. And like my friends are just making fun of me, just like it's going to be like Michael Scott from The Office, and just I'm going to be like, I don't know if you watched The Office before, but it's going to be a big challenge. It's going to be a big challenge, and
it is definitely. And
the layout and stuff, just getting that stuff right.
No, absolutely. It's a lot of planning to try and get that right, to get the infrastructure right. And I know that at the units we have in the prep center we have, it's about the flow of getting the flow right of how things gone on is just absolutely crazy, because you've just got to get it right. But that's the total learning process, and it's probably going to take you like a good few months to be able to get that sorted, 100%, and go through that process of hiring staff, especially if you've not done it before as well. And it's something that have you ever self-prepped, or were you in prep center from the start?
No, I self-prepped.
You got your badges.
Yeah, and I remember the times like staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, just like chocolates all over my lounge, just like, wow, I need to outsource this. So I've done the whole prep and all that. But the goal would be obviously to be involved with the staff and the packers at the start and really get sink my teeth in. But eventually, obviously, the whole packing and I want that to be completely sort of left to the packers and the people with that role.
It's exciting though. It's exciting. It's doing something. It's like bringing it back in, taking back control, bringing it back in house. And like I said, I've talked about it before. It's the natural, kind of process, or the natural cycle of prep. Most people start out, then they go to a prep center, then they get freaked out by prep center prices, then they bring it back in house, then they outsource probably to a prep center again, and then once they get to a certain point in their business, heading towards 7 figures, generally that's when most people, because those prep bills start getting really, really big, at that point. And that's when it starts thinking, okay, I can pay for a warehouse, I can probably get 3 staff, I can do this, and then I can maybe do eBay because I've got the stock here. I can do that, all of those things, and it just starts adding up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just can't wait to start selling like Woody dolls on eBay and stuff like that. That's
amazing.
That's what I want to do.
It'd be interesting if we still need polybagging for, because I think with the Woody ones, it's one of them. Is it Woody or Jesse? One of them needs polybagging, the other one doesn't. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The multiple listings. One of them needs the polybags, the other one doesn't. Always makes me laugh, that type of thing. But Sean says, we've all done it, staying up till 3 a.m. I remember back in the day, the first shipments we ever did, and it's before we had a process in place to be able to track what was going in the boxes. So we had to physically write on the boxes where everything was going, and we couldn't account for like 1 unit. And me and Matt would have a proper full-on row, because I'd be like, no, I put the Barbie doll in box number 17. And he was like, no, I put the Barbie doll in box number 2. So we'd end up having like this big round. Before we know it, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We've all done it. We've all been there. All got the T-shirt, definitely.
Yeah.
Andrew said Walmart's actually invite only at the moment. Okay. So that's something presumably will be the start of it starting to open up. Walmart have sold their share they had with Asda. It used to be Asda Walmart here, definitely. It sold it to the 2 guys from Bradford. I sold Asda. Yeah. Oh, okay. So never know. Walmart, the American market's absolutely huge. It might be enough for them. Who knows? Absolutely. I think we've pretty much covered everything that we were going to talk about. I know Ash had a few questions on there. Okay, this is interesting. Just a general kind of one, actually. And Ash will probably kill me if I don't ask this. So what motivates you, Jonny? Which I think is a very broad question.
Yeah.
He talks about what motivates him, but what gets you up in the morning? What keeps you going with this particular business?
Yeah, I think it's the fulfillment from it. It's just the self-fulfillment and just the creating side of it, I think, and just creating a business, and it feels good. And I don't think I'm that. I used to think I was very money driven. I'm a little bit money driven, but I think like, what do I spend my money on? And the only thing I really spend money on is actually just stuff for barbecues, for like briskets and stuff. That's me when I'm 31. The only things I buy now is like briskets and Jacob ladder ribs and stuff like that, and that's like my main expense now. So so I don't know. I
was not expecting that answer.
Yeah, I know. It was my lockdown sort of hobby last summer, and importing those
Barbecuing,
brisk.
like, it's massive. People really take it seriously, don't they? With their we bought a new barbecue literally this last week off Amazon. Did it on the old, like we buy everything on Amazon now. Matt buys everything on Amazon, like big purchases, because they do this like pay it off in like 5 payments.
Ooh, yeah.
The only thing is you end up having about like 10 things you're paying off like in 5 payments. You're like, oh wow, 60 quid a month. That's great. I'm going to get 6 of them. But we bought this new barbecue, and it's like a combination one of charcoal and gas at the same time. It's a hybrid one. And what made me laugh was I was looking into it, and we were doing the research into it, and that made me see how seriously people have started taking their barbecuing.
Yeah, I mean, like the briskets I was putting on for like 12, 14 hours. Last summer, it's a really good way to have barbecues and friends around. When you can't go out into restaurants, is to do like a barbecue. You put like some pulled pork or like a brisket, and that's what I spend my money on now, importing briskets from America. Yeah.
You really do take it seriously, definitely.
Yeah. But sorry, to answer the question, I have that. Yeah, I have that sort of entrepreneurial bug, I think, where it feels so good when I have a plan and it succeeds. And a month ago, I think I told you about that house development I got. I was doing a house to 2 flats, and I got planning permission on that, and just stuff like that. I got it through the planning permission through. So it just feels good when you sort of have a plan. It's like even building the software I was building today, and pulling in like the Amazon data and doing like a proper forecast on all the sales data, and you're like, oh, it feels good, like it's a great feeling.
It's good. And I think the only thing I'll add to that as well is from a motivation point of view is just everything I've talked about tonight, diversifying, adapting, trying new things. It's really put a skip back into my step in terms of being amazed, I think, by the Amazon selling machine and what you can do with it, and what the possibilities are in the company we talked about tonight, however you say it, what potentially could be possible. Of course, not everyone is going to do billions and billions of dollars or pounds or whatever at the end of the day, but you could.
Yeah, just got to get a good model and get hundreds of millions of dollars in lending, and you can do it.
Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe we will become the Secret Wealth Project conglomerate, and we could become a buying group or something like that.
Investing fund.
Matt Whitley, if he was watching tonight, he'd be looking up that already as we speak. So I know he would. I think, who said that? Darren says, get yourself a Kadai Indian fire bowl. It's my latest investment. You'll love it.
Okay. So I'll look it up. Yeah.
Hot tip, literally, to be able to look at that. Darren says he's got to run 8:30. Take care and happy selling to all. So I think we will use that as 8:30. I think it's a good time to wrap up. We've covered loads tonight. We've talked about future, we've talked about the past, we've talked about potential changes, we've talked about the US. So hopefully everyone's happy with everything that we've kind of discussed tonight. Thank you, Jonny. Like I said, you kind of you did get me out of a hole, so thank you for joining me at really short notice. I do appreciate it. And you are such a wealth of information. For anyone that hasn't joined Jonny's groups, he's a massive Bible Pro fan as well. I know you said last time you could not live without it as one of your tools that you absolutely love.
Yeah.
So for good, sort of tips, like I said, Jonny really does keep his finger on the pulse. He also does these new kind of sourcing sessions. So if you're interested in finding about that, we will drop his group into the comments. But if you want to give it a quick shout out, Jonny, for anyone that hasn't joined so far.
Yeah, so it's just Amazon Entrepreneurs Group. Should hopefully pop up. And then these sourcing sessions, I'm going to do them sort of weekly. It's quite a lot of demand at the moment, so I might add a few more sessions in. But, the feedback so far has been pretty good. So, just look out for that, and I'll post when the next fews are up. But I think if you go onto my official website, Amazon Entrepreneurs, there might be a few free slots there. So look it up. Yeah.
Cool. Fine, Jonny. He's totally legit. And friend of the Secret Wealth Project, definitely. Fran says she's off to buy a barbecue. Yeah, there we go. Might have a few barbecue sales after that. Guys, I'm not actually going to be here next week. I've got a week off. Yeah. First time in like 18 months. I've got a week off. It's my daughter's birthday and it's actually next Tuesday. So I'm going to be spending it with her. Matt and Luke are going to be here. They're going to be, God knows what they're going to do. I've got no ideas. I don't want to be perfectly honest, but I guarantee it will be fun. I need to remind them because they've probably forgotten they're both on next week as well. And then the week after that, when I'm back, we're going to have multiple 7-figure US specific seller, top of his absolute game, is going to be joining us to talk about selling in the US market in 2 weeks' time. So please make sure you join us for that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. Sorry, Emmanuel. ESA is on next week. It's just I'm not here for Nevermind the Buy Books. Sorry, you don't get away that lightly, I'm afraid. Lots of links there for you for the Indian Fireball as well.
I'll check it out.
Like loads of people have posted on there. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great week. I won't see you next week. Matt and Luke will, but I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Take care.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.